Welcome to Lighting for Profits.
All right.
Powered by Emery Allen.
Get rid of your excuses.
Your number one source for all things landscape lighting.
That's where the magic can happen. You can really scale a business.
We really had to show up for each other.
From lighting design, install, sales, and marketing.
You're a scaredy cat salesman, Kurt.
We discuss everything you need to know to start and grow a successful landscape lighting business.
What do you think a hippo has to do with your business, Ryan?
Usually it's some weird childhood thing. Some bully kicked your butt.
I think the key factor here is trust.
Here is your host, Ryan Lee.
All right. What is up? Welcome, you guys. Welcome to Lighting for Profits, powered by Emery Allen. I'm Ryan Lee, the host of the number one landscape lighting show in St. Louis, Missouri. That's right. Number one landscape lighting show in St. Louis. We are going viral. We are going worldwide. Guys, we got an epic show lined up for you today. If you're looking to start or grow a landscape lighting business, you're definitely in the right place. We're here to motivate. We're here to dominate. Wait, I can't even remember what we're here to do, but we're here to help educate and motivate to help you dominate. And we, by the way, are dominating at the same time. Today, we've got Mr. Adam McChesney. He is the founder of Builders of Authority. He also owns another business as well we're going to talk about, but I'm super excited for this show, you guys. And I know I say that every week, of course, but if you could just understand like how truthful I am when I say that. I look forward to it every single day. Right before, literally, I was like, I go in and my kids are all hanging out. I'm like, guys, it's podcast time. Let's go. And Kate's like, the internet's out. I'm like, what? When were you going to tell me? And so I had a mild panic. But I'm excited because we're actually here. But today, guys, we're going to be talking about the power of personal branding. And this is like, I know I say I'm excited about every episode, but I'm just telling you right now, this topic is important to me because it's changed my life the last 4 or 5 years, and it will change your life over the next 4 or 5 years as well. Really, really good stuff. The power of personal branding is amazing. And yes, this is something that you should be taking notes on. So I'm really excited. And I want to thank all of you guys who have given me a 5-star review. But if you haven't, I want to guilt you. I want you to feel really bad, shame, even, anything, whatever it takes to motivate you to give me a 5-star review. I'd really appreciate it on Apple because I'm trying to beat my friend Chris Applestop. We're doing a race to 100, and I think I'm at like 62 now. So thank you to whoever, I can't remember the username. I didn't recognize the name, but thank you guys for that latest 5-star review. And remember, in like 6 weeks, Secret Summit is coming up, which is our members only event for landscape lighting secret members. Going to be amazing. We just finalized something else, a new speaker. We have a new activity we're going to do. Like, it's going to be epic, and would love to have you there, but you do have to be a member. So if you're like, I don't know, should I do this? Should I not? Just book a call with me. Go to landscapelightingsecrets.com. We'll get on the phone. We'll figure out if it makes sense to work together. If it does, then you want to join before the summit. I'm just telling you, because we only do that once a year. So super excited about that event coming up. It's always a good one. And, like online communities are great, but when you can meet in person, like the relationships go next level, everything goes next level. So it's going to be a really, really good one. All right. Emery Allen, thank you guys so much for your partnership. You guys know this. Performance matters. That's a true statement for a lot of things, including the kind of lighting you use, right? So don't sell yourself short with your customer by using budget level products. A lot of people are always like, well, I can't sell it for that, so I'll just, use cheap stuff. Like, don't do that. And Emery Allen is at the top of their game when it comes to performance. Take their VA rating, for example. It's the lowest in the industry. What that means is efficiency. So now you're going to be able to put more lamps, more fixtures on a project and save you money on transformer space, wiring, and everything else. So all you got to do is make the switch to Emery Allen. And guess what? We got you hooked up with contractor pricing. You're not going to get anywhere else. Just email tomg@emeryallen.com, and he will get you connected with his company. He'll get your contractor pricing set up. Just mention that you heard about him here on Lighting for Profits. Again, just email tomg@emeryallen.com. I'm telling you, you're missing out. That single source LED that they have is super clear and just looks really, really good at night. And they're just awesome people. So, I like working with people that I like. So make sure you check out Emery Allen. All right, guys. Again, we got just a couple minutes. We got Adam McChesney coming on, Builders of Authority. And I've gotten to know Adam a little bit over the last year. but I'm in love with his mission and what he's teaching and everything else. So I'm like, dude, we got to get him on here. We got to get him on because telling you the power of personal branding is going to transform your life and your business. Before we have him on, I want to just share something real quick. Last week, I had the opportunity to speak at the HBL event. HBL is Holiday Bright Lights. So they're a Christmas light company. They manufacture and sell and distribute and train and do all this other stuff for holiday lighting. And it was pretty cool. I was the keynote speaker, which I was so grateful and humbled by the experience. And it was kind of interesting because it was a 90-minute keynote, and then I did 2 more breakouts as well during the day. And I prepared, even though it was like a 90-minute keynote, I prepared at least 10, probably 12, 14 hours into that one presentation. And so my hourly rate, I'm like, wait a minute, $5 an hour. But it reminded me of that quote by Abraham Lincoln. I think it was him. And it says, give me 6 hours to chop down a tree, and I will spend the first 4 sharpening the axe. And you can learn a lot from that, right? We're often spending so much time trying to do the thing the hard way, whatever it was we're working on. And we just take a step back and sharpen our axe, practice. People say work on your business. Well, what does that mean? Well, practice sales, practice talking to people, practice marketing, try different angles, right? Build SOPs, spend time training, follow up with your customers. All these different things are sharpening our axe. We'll find that there's an easier way. It doesn't have to take 6 hours to chop down the tree, right? So anyway, I'm preparing for my my keynote, and I wrote down this question that I came across the other day, and the question is, what is your plan B? And thing is, I used to be a plan B guy. Like even when I started my lighting company, when I started Landscape Lighting Secrets, it was always like I had to have a plan B to talk myself into plan A. Like, okay, well, I'm just going to do this, and then if it doesn't work, or when it doesn't work, I'll do plan B. So in one sense, I really appreciate the plan B'ers out there because sometimes you need it to convince yourself to start the new plan A. But here's the thing. Your plan B might be the thing holding you back, right? Because perhaps it's the largest enemy. It literally is the largest enemy to plan A is plan B, because you know that you have an exit plan. Like you can pull the parachute, right? And it distracts you from the focus of plan A and the focus that's required to get plan A off the ground or to execute it, right? We all want like success. We all want money. We all want time freedom. We want all the same stuff. We're entrepreneurs. We're crazy, right? But are we really willing to go all in to make sure that plan A succeeds? And if you think about it, with only the success of plan A as a possibility, you're forced to survive, right? You're forced to find new angles because there is no option of plan B. And a lot of people have plan B, C, D, and E. And they're not working on plan A, and they're wondering why they're not getting results. They're not getting traction. They're getting stuck. It's because you have too many backup plans, right? That when you have that option of plan B on your mind, it requires less fortitude to iterate. So like you try something, maybe you learn about it here on the podcast. One of our guests comes on, maybe Adam shares something. You're like, oh yeah, I tried that. Well, did you really try it the way it's supposed to work for you? Maybe you tried it, but it's like saying, well, I tried Facebook ads. Like there's 100,000 ways to try to do Facebook ads. So you need to iterate, right? And honestly, like the easy way out is to have a plan B. And it's not the way that the successful people do it. The most successful people that I know that I try to infiltrate their circles. I'm like, come on, invite me to dinner. When can I come over? Like, let me buy you lunch, right? They use iteration. They use iteration pretty much every single day in their life. They don't have a plan B. Like their plan A is their plan B. But if they did have a plan B, their plan B is to try plan A another way, right? They literally are just going to keep trying it and try different angles. And you know what? I see this happening right now in the landscape lighting industry because things are starting to tighten up a bit, right? The COVID days are gone. And now we're back to like, I don't think we're back to anything crazy. We're just back to kind of normal. This is how business works. Like you got to be really, really good at marketing. You got to be really, really good at sales, customer service, follow-up, like all these things, right? These are just normal business things, but we haven't had to do all these things. It was easy. So you have people saying, well, I'm struggling getting leads for landscape lighting. So, I'll just do permanent lighting. Or, you know what, I'll just wait a couple months because holiday lighting is about to hit and I'll make a fortune with holiday lighting. So these next 2 months, yeah, it's slow, back to school, vacations, they make excuses, right? So you want the cheat code to success? Get rid of your plan B. Get rid of it. Like, it's not even an option. And you'll be surprised when you put all your energy, all your efforts into ensuring that plan A works, how well you'll do. And it's not easy. It's easy to talk about it right now. Executing is difficult, right? But if it was easy, everyone would be doing it. Like, everyone would already be doing landscape lighting, and it wouldn't be like this, right? So we have an opportunity. We're blessed to be in this industry that not everybody is doing. Now, some of you are like, well, yeah, but look, it's growing. It's like, well, that's a good thing. So stop complaining, right? And so get rid of all your excuses and go all in on yourself. Okay, there's just too much on the line. You've risked too much. You've worked too hard. Like, you can't give up on plan A and just pivot to another plan, right? And I did not write down who said this quote. He said, you can either be wealthy or comfortable, but not both. I love that, because that's truth. Like, I want to be comfortable and wealthy, but that just doesn't go hand in hand. Okay. It's not how the game works. And every successful person I know, they've had to do hard things. They've just had to do hard things that others aren't willing to do. Now, sometimes, like, maybe now after they've had this success, maybe it does look like they're comfortable, but most of these guys are still going and going, right? And they don't stop, right? And sometimes it might look easy on the outside, but I can assure you it's not. All paths to success are filled with doubt, obstacles, setbacks, and failures. And here's the cool thing. You are in control, right? You get to decide which path you are on. So you get to decide today, okay, well, am I going to retreat? Am I going to go back to path B, C, D, E? Some of you guys have like 26 paths that you're thinking about trying. I want to get into real estate. I want to get into this. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this. Right? But instead of changing lanes, try and trying whatever the latest thing is. There's always going to be like the shiny object, right? It's going to make you rich. You could try that. You could retreat and try that, right? Or you could stay the course. When you're presented with a setback, you iterate. You don't change plans. You don't change lanes. You change directions. Okay. You change trajectory. You change the angle at which you were trying something before. But that doesn't mean, it doesn't mean you keep trying the same thing over and over. Okay. That's not smart. But you try the same thing over and over with an iteration. So change one thing. Try adding a word, taking a word away, showing up early, showing up late, trying something different, right? And do those iterations and see how that affects it. Because I'm telling you right now, like, too many people are going to give up on their dreams right now and chase something else. And they're going to have major regret 5, 10, 20 years from now. Oh, I should have done this. I should have done that. Because it doesn't matter what you're doing. It's going to be hard. So suck it up. Do the hard that you're good at. You're already good at this hard. So just do it and iterate and find a better way to do it. Good news for you is we got Adam coming on, and he's got some awesome stuff to help you keep doing what you're doing and iterate and help you build that personal brand. So I'm excited about today's show. I think it's time. I'm done with my thing. It's kind of like my weekly therapy. I got to get something off my chest. So let's get the music going and get our friend Adam on. You guys ready? Hopefully so. Let's go. Welcome to the show, Mr. Adam McChesney.
Thanks for having me, man. I'm fired up just listening to you talk.
I hope so.
Man, no plan B. No plan B. I love it. I love it.
Yeah, and that's coming. I'm like a recovering plan B guy. Like I get it. I get a lot of people tell you, like, what's your plan B? But man, I just know, like, anytime I've just abandoned that plan B and focus on A, it's like, dude, I have to make it work. You're gonna make it work.
Well, I think to that point, I think you mentioned kind of like COVID opening up a lot of doors, I think, for people of like, there was business literally everywhere. And we're back now to probably what things were like just before COVID. It's not really anything different. you could do your plan B and like fall back on something and kind of get by over the last couple of years. But like, I think done are the days where you can have all these different plates you're trying to juggle and still be successful. So I think like the last couple of years have skewed the ability to be successful while trying to do all the other stuff you're trying to do as well.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, it's just a different world. It's crazy how fast it's changing very, very quickly.
Oh, yeah.
So today we're going to talk about, all about building authority and stuff like that. Before we get started though, if you would just do a quick introduction of yourself. How did you get started as an entrepreneur?
Yeah, absolutely. So Adam McChesney here in St. Louis, Missouri, married to my wife, Delaney. We have our 10-month-old Murphy as well, which has been an incredible journey as an entrepreneur and a father. I've spent 5 years in medical device sales up until 2020. So most of that time was spent at a company called ResMed. So if you're familiar with CPAP equipment, devices, masks, all of that stuff, that's what I sold. Managed about a $25 million a year territory here in the state of Missouri. But back in 2018, I kind of foresaw getting married, building a family, all of that stuff that was going to come after my opinion of working in corporate America. And so I bought my first digital marketing course in 2018. Did it on the side for about 2 years, built 200 websites, ranked them, rented them. So a little bit of a different digital marketing model, basically digital real estate, and then decided in the midst of the pandemic that I was going to go full time with it. So I went full time with it. And July 2020 was when I did that, switched to more of a traditional agency, doing website design, SEO, paid ads, all of that stuff, built up an agency and a business with hundreds of clients, Inc. 5000 awards the last 3 years. And then in March of this year, stepped away to be able to go full into Builders of Authority, which I soft launched back in November of 2023, really around the foundation that I've built multiple companies, service-based businesses, digital marketing agencies, consulting companies, things like that. But it was all in the backing of personal branding and digital marketing. And so I believe everybody has a story to tell. And I believe a lot of people aren't telling their story and or know where to start. And so Builders of Authority helps you become the authority in your industry to your ideal client by posting content on social media, doing free and easy digital marketing strategies. So then that way, marketing agencies are always going to be needed, but a lot of people are looking for free and easy ways to get started and to know and be educated on what they're doing. So in a nutshell, that's Adam McChesney.
Well, there's so many fascinating things. So I sold my lighting business in 2019, and that's when I started exploring really kind of what this storytelling is and branding. And I've got a marketing degree from early 2000s, but that was before social media and everything else. So I'm taking courses and buying courses and stuff like that. And what's interesting is when you got into in 2020, that's when I got out of digital marketing. I was like, dude, I can't handle this. And the pandemic caused, I had a bunch of clients like firing me, like, we don't know what we're going to do. And I was like, sweet, because I don't want to do this. And that's when I launched Landscape Lighting Secrets. I was like, this is cool because now I have enough, like I've been exploring this and I've been learning about personal branding and stuff. And I started I didn't even have a product. I was just doing like Facebook Lives and stuff like that. I was just trying to find my own voice, find my own story. And I started to resonate with certain people. And I did that for about 6 months, but that was like July 2020 when we launched Landscape Lighting Secrets, when I finally had the courage to be like, okay, I'm going all in. So right around that similar time.
Yeah, it's funny how like the industry has just changed. But I mean, I went to college with sports management and marketing degree, and like nothing, and even some like entrepreneurial type classes, like nothing that I learned there is anywhere close to relevant for the most part to what I'm currently doing on a daily basis. But I got super, super fascinated with the idea of helping local business owners and then seeing how that was able to be impacted. Right. And so like I went from corporate America where I'm selling a bunch of products, making a bunch of money. I could have continued to do that kind of for the rest of my life, but I was always traveling, but not traveling, hey, I'm going to go speak at this event, or I'm going to go visit some clients or go to this conference. It was like, hey, no, you need to go do that in order to make the money that you, of course, are wanting to make. So when I saw back in 2018, I bought this course. I paid $7,000 and I never invested in myself before. And so I started building simple Weebly websites. And I'll never forget it. That was like right after Thanksgiving. And then like I filed the course and I'm like, there's no way this is that easy. Like there's hundreds and hundreds and thousands and hundreds of thousands marketing agencies that are out there. But I built a simple appliance repair website here in St. Louis that's still on the first page of Google. And at the time I was doing rank and rent, which basically means I build the asset, I build the website, and then I go find the tenant or the business to be able to do the actual work. And I'm sitting at my mom's wedding and I literally get a phone call like 3 weeks later, like, hey, we need our kit or whatever it was, the refrigerator or microwave or something repaired. And I'm like, oh my gosh, this works. And it just opened up my eyes to like how much opportunity is out there, regardless of the competitiveness of the market or your city or anything like that. Doesn't matter the industry. There's always going to be a need for people to operate at a high level and serve with integrity and do what they say they're going to do. And so I just got hooked then and then did it on the side for a couple of years and then went full time in 2020.
Cool. Well, let's talk about maybe introduce like what is personal branding, because I think historically most businesses, I mean, I look at me and my lighting business and then what I know now.
Yeah.
Me, 10 years ago, I'm like promoting my lighting business online. Here's a cool picture of landscape lighting. Okay. And then the next night, here's a really cool one where we did this. And it was all about the business. If actually it was just about what we did. It wasn't even about the business. Why should someone stop posting about exactly what they do and start focusing more on their personal brand and kind of introduce what personal branding is?
Yeah, it's a great question. So I'll start with my definition of a personal brand, and that's simply what other people think about you when you're not in the room. And so it
Nice.
doesn't matter if you have a business or not. Maybe you're a sales rep or an employee or just a retired individual. It doesn't really matter. But that is tied to you, not your job, not your business, not anything else. And so that could be a good thing. That could be a bad thing. And it could be everywhere, obviously, in between as well. And so what so often happens is people do want to go do the business social media posting. They want to do digital marketing. They want to run ads. They want to do all of the other stuff, but they're not taking advantage of their current Rolodex, which is their organic social media, to be able to grow their business. And so the main reason behind, you wouldn't necessarily, I never tell people, hey, stop posting on your business pages, especially if you've already had them out there, but try to build a habit and routine around posting, once a day at the beginning or every other day or once a week on your personal page, because the algorithms are so different. And the mindset of your ideal clients usually is as well. And what I mean by that is people buy from people, right? And so when you have Adam or Ryan's landscape lighting company, they see that brand and they don't necessarily always see the person behind it. But if they see you and I posting from our personal page and they're like, wow, Adam and Ryan, and they're both husbands and fathers, and they have this mission and impact, and they just so happen to do what they do, people are a lot more likely to have their walls broken down and be willing to do business with you. But the best part about it is the algorithms are so different. As I mentioned before, is that you can accomplish in 90 days with your personal brand what would probably take you 15 to 18 to 24 months, because all these platforms, they make money from businesses and business pages running ads and boosting posts and doing all those things. So you can accomplish a lot more with a lot less, but you're also connecting eye to eye with your ideal client, person to person, human to human, father to father, right? For as an example, versus client or potential client to business owner.
Yeah, exactly. So how does someone start building their, I'm just thinking like in the landscape lighting industry, a lot of their friends are just other landscape lighting business owners. How does someone start to infiltrate the local community and get more personal followers?
Yeah. So I think the easiest place is to just go in and make sure that like you're friends with all the people that you already know, right? So like a lot of people are like, oh, I never get on Facebook or I never get on social media, Instagram, whatever platform. Like just go into your contacts. All the platforms will literally link up and you can start adding people that you probably have known for years, right? The second thing is to go and get connected with and make sure that your past clients, current clients are also friends with you, because you can tag them when you finish a project. And then you now are in the feed of all of the people that they're connected to as well. But probably one of my favorite areas and kind of where I got started and really, really growing this is in local Facebook groups. So like, even if you're like, I don't want to be friends with my family or people that know my personal life, like I want to keep this more business focused, go connect with all of your referral partners. Go connect with all the people that you do networking with, because they are likely going to start sharing your stuff as well. And so take advantage of the low-hanging fruit that's right there. And you can go build relationships in those groups on Facebook, like your local contracting Facebook groups, the I know a guy, I know a gal type groups, like all of those groups that are out there in pretty much any city are like huge opportunities for you to be able to grow your business, and you don't even know it's right there.
Very cool. You know, it's interesting because I don't know what percentage, I'm totally making this up, but it's got to be like 99% of people on, let's just say Facebook, are consumers versus creators, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And so I've talked to people about this and they struggle with this because they've had this personal page for so long and they use it to update their grandparents and their spouse and whatever, their local network of friends. I'm like, but what if what if you could change that profile and you're not abandoning your family? You're doing this for your family.
Yeah.
Talk about that. Like, what should be on your social media profile? Is it a picture of the family? Is it a picture of the people you serve and how you serve them? Like, how strategic are you getting on this personal?
Yeah,
personal
that's another great question. So I have a headshot on all my platforms, and then on like Facebook as an example, because that's the primary platform that we teach on and that we've used to grow our businesses. Cover photo is my family. And then like on my profile about us section, it's like husband, father, serial entrepreneur, speaker, what podcaster, probably whatever else is on there, right? And so the difference with that, right? And I would say contractors don't go down this rabbit hole, but like a lot of marketers and business coaches and fitness coaches and Forex traders all go down I'm going to have the cover photo with like some insane case studies and results and like some special offer. And then my about us section is going to be like, hey, DM me this word for 30 days free or whatever, right? Regardless of what industry you're in, you just don't want to turn it into a big sales pitch. So when someone sees your profile, right, you send them the friend request, because that's an activity that we teach, is try to add 5 new people a day for the first couple of months as you're getting into this new personal branding activity. You don't want people to get that friend request and be like, that's Adam, that's Ryan. He's literally going to try to pitch me in the direct messages, which you and I obviously know happens quite a bit. So you want people to connect with you and be like, he's just another human being. He's just X, Y, and Z. But, okay, so he does so happen to own his own business or multiple businesses, and he's got a podcast and a YouTube channel. Like, I'll accept his friend request. Probably no harm, no foul.
Nice. I like that. And then what's the relationship like between the personal and the business page? Like you said, like, okay, you can post business stuff, of course, but you want to get personal and show people that you're just a real human. You have a life.
Yep.
Are you posting on your personal and sharing it on your business, vice versa? Is there a method for that?
Yeah, so I'm usually not trying to like cross promote with a lot of stuff unless it's like some big, massive announcement. Because the reason being is, again, these platforms and these algorithms are going to be a little bit different personal versus business. So what I always recommend people on your personal pages, if you're going to post once a day or twice a day, like I do the 80-20 rule. So 80% of your content should not have anything to do in like high level about like what it is that you sell, the product, the widget, the service, X, Y, and Z, with 20% of it being that way. And so like 80% of the content, even probably closer to 90% of the content for me, is like motivational, just like get up and like go do your thing, right? It talks about like the life of the entrepreneur, just like stuff that I go through and how I navigate my journey in life, because my ideal client is that entrepreneur, right? It's that entrepreneur that maybe has one business or multiple businesses, and they're looking to invest in themselves. Whether that they need coaching or they need marketing and advertising or personal branding or any of those types of things. But I want to connect to that individual. So when I do talk about my widget, my project, my services, in that 20%, I usually always try to tell a story, right? So that's where it's going to be different than your business page. So like you could tell a really, really good story about a landscape lighting project of how like the end of the project, you take a bunch of awesome pictures, or maybe it's a video or whatever, and like you upload that to Facebook, you tag the client because ideally you're friends with them at this point. You tag the client and you're like, hey, I started working with Ryan on this project X, Y, and Z time ago. He found us from referral, word of mouth, Google, Facebook, doesn't really matter. He came to us looking for this. This is what we ended up doing for the scope of work. Like trying to tell the story of your clients and of the situation goes a lot further than just being like, hey, here's some pictures of a finished project. Like people can go and get that stuff anywhere. But that's what you're usually going to post on your business page, because not a whole lot of new and additional people are going to find that. You're just more so doing the business page for like brand awareness, and people go there to like do their additional homework. But when it's your personal page, like you can cross promote your stuff with the clients, with other people maybe that you're sending business to and from, as it relates to that project. But you can do it by telling a story, not just like showing up and being like, oh, hey, here's another project we did, but taking it one step further.
I like that. And that's just one of those things that's like not natural. Like most people don't know that. That's like common sense to you now, but it probably wasn't at some point. And it's hard. Like it's easier to just post a picture of the job I did last night.
Yeah.
It's harder to be like, what is the story here? Like what happened here? And dude, you're just throwing down like fire right now. I'm telling you, if someone does this, they are going to send you a personal phone call, letter, or something to thank you for this, because this is the life-changing stuff that they need to be doing. If they can get into that story, they've got a customer for life.
So it really is. And so like I've taught, like where Builders of Authority originally came was like, so 2.5 years ago, I spoke on my first stage ever. And for 1.5 years, I only would speak to marketing agencies. So like people that were throwing marketing conferences would reach out to me like, hey, Adam, can you come speak at my event? And can you come like show the blueprint of how you grew your marketing agency? And growing a marketing agency, and we scaled our first agency from 0 to 7 figures in 15 months and then to multiple 7 figures. That's really, really hard to do with $0 in paid ads. So I would teach that blueprint over and over and over again, and people would just be like wowed by how simple it was. And but they would never get the results that they were looking for as quick, right? Because it's like, hey, you need to do this for 90 days. Everybody that is a landscape lighting person watching this live or listening to this podcast has been pitched probably already. It's Tuesday, probably already been pitched by 5 people this week on marketing, right? So it's hard to get in there. But when I teach this to contractors, right, there's very few of the competitors of the people that are actually doing this that are actually posting consistently on social media. So it can open up the floodgates if it gets you 1 commercial job, 1 new referral partner, if it gets you 5 new jobs a month, because you're doing an activity that you were never doing before. It's very unlikely that you're going to start posting and then all of a sudden your top 3 competitors, that entrepreneur, that business owner is also going to go start doing it. It's just not going to happen. So the opportunity, especially in today's climate of the marketplace and the economy and things like that, it's almost essential to at least be doing this somewhat consistently just to see how it can impact your business.
I love it. I can't believe that I didn't know, right? It's not like I turned it down, but like I kind of want to start a lighting business now so that I can go do this thing and implement it to show like how powerful it is. It's crazy. What is
I was going to say that's the biggest thing. So consistency is like I tell everybody, like, the first thing when somebody comes into our community, they ask me like, hey, where should I get started? I say, hey, where are you at? Right.
Okay.
So like, if you think about like 75 hard or any diet or any of those things, like very few people are just going to turn it on and go 0 to 100. So I tell people, it's like, take an audit, do a baseline analysis of where you're at right now. So if you're posting once a week or once a month or once a day, just take that audit and then do more for the first 60 or 90 days. So if you're posting once a week, go to every other day, try to get to every day, right? And just be consistent with it. Because one of the things these platforms, whether it's Google, whether it's Facebook, whether it's Instagram, they like consistency based on what you're feeding their system, right? So even if it's, once a week, if you go up to every other day or once a week, they're going to start rewarding you for posting more content and spending more time on that platform. So in the beginning, it's about building the habit and the routine of just doing a little bit more. Ed Milet talks about in his book, The Power of One More. It's like, how can I do one more to incrementally move me in the right direction? Now, at some point, right, when you're talking about, hey, I do want to hit that like 75 hard of personal branding or social media, like we're talking 2 posts a day, every single day, trying to get them at the same time every single day. So that way your audience starts to get trained. Then we talk about doing, a reel a day, a podcast a week, 1 YouTube video a week, maybe 2 YouTube videos a week. So there's so many different rabbit holes that you can go down. But like, if everybody just focused on Facebook and just focused on doing more on Facebook that they're doing today, they'll have likely more business within 3 to 6 months than they could have ever imagined by just building this habit and routine.
Such good advice. I love it. Otherwise, it's like, well, I got to be on 15 different platforms and I'm not even on Twitter. How do I create a Twitter account? And it's not even called Twitter anymore. I just called it Twitter. It's X. Like,
yeah, it can be a lot. And like everybody thinks, and I've heard like so often over the past couple of years, like Facebook is dead. There's no money on Facebook. Like I would actually argue completely against that. Like that is your target market. I hear a lot of people and I see so many people came to me, Adam, I want to blow up on TikTok. I want to, be famous on Instagram. It's like, great. You're going to get all the vanity metrics, but you're going to have no dollars associated unless you strike some affiliate deal, which is very unlikely to happen. But the low hanging fruit, the people that actually do have money are spending time on Facebook.
how do you do? And I agree, by the way, but my whole business is Facebook. Like I have my YouTube channel. It's funny. I get leads from YouTube now, but it is the weakest YouTube channel in the history of YouTube. I don't even know how it's working, but it's working.
Because you're super niche down. YouTube loves that.
They do, right? And I've got a plan to work on it, but it's like the same thing. I'm like, it's too overwhelming. Let me just focus on this one right now, and because that's working. So,
yeah.
How do you deal with the fact that you go to start? I remember doing this, and I was like, hey, here we go. I was at a ClickFunnels, they're funnel hacking live. Russell Brunson's like challenges everyone to do go live and stuff like that. And I'm like shaking, like going live, talking about my origin story, all this stuff. And then I started to get a little bit more comfortable, but I looked down and I'm like, man, there's like 2 people on there. And coincidentally, it was my mother and my wife, and I'm like, when do I give up? Like, does anybody care? Like, why the hell am I doing this? Because, you don't have an audience at first. You don't know your voice. You're not good at telling stories. You're not an expert. You're starting out. How do you work through that?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of different answers to that question. There's 2 different times where you're going to feel like that is right when you get started. And if you can get over that hump, like you're off to the races. But also, like, I've even had this over the last couple of months where we're building something new. I'm kind of restarting in not all reality, but like building a new business. So my content from a production standpoint and also a quantity standpoint has taken a backseat for the most part from what I used to be doing. And so you start to see, once you've had a little bit of success, you start to see some of those vanity metrics. Like our business hasn't dropped off, but the vanity metrics, which is what a lot of people say. And I told myself from the beginning, I'm not going to care about those things. You're lying if you say that, because you end up looking at that. You look at the analytics, you look at all of those things, and it's the same thought process and mindset that happens in the very, very beginning. So for me is my why was always bigger than, and thankfully it has continued to be that way, but always bigger than, okay, like am I going to grow from this one video? No, absolutely not. But I need one client, one life impacted, one referral, one whatever from the consistency of content over that week, if you will, or 2 weeks or a month or whatever it is for your business. So just trying to put it in perspective of the bigger picture, because I know I'm willing to and able to, and I've proven it time and time again, to not just outwork people, but outlast people. Because I know that whether it's competition or potential competition or whatever you want to look at it, like when they see those things, 99% of people are giving up. When I see that, I'm pissed off. I wish I could be doing better. I would love to see the viral stuff go, but like, I know I have something bigger at play, and it's just a matter of time until something hits, right? Until I see the direct impact from it. But no different than you probably do. Like when you go to a conference, as we were kind of talking about before, when people are like, oh my gosh, I've been consuming your content for so long. And you're like, I've never seen you like a video. I've never seen you comment. You've never done business with me, but then they end up becoming a customer at some point. So I guess the short answer to the long-winded question is just like a long-winded answer is just like play the long game, right? Like if you needed this to pay off immediately, like you probably have a whole other set of issues in your business, in your life. But if you don't need it, which I would encourage you to think about the long game with this, like this has all of the potential to be able to do anything that you want with it.
That is so good. Dude, I remember I'm not kidding. I would do these videos, and some of them, dude, like especially when I found my voice and I was like, oh, wait, I'm like really good at pricing. I'm really good at sales. Like I didn't know what I was really good at before until I met a lot of other people that were really bad at a lot of things, right? And so I was like, oh wait, like I thought that was common sense. That's not common sense to you. So I realized I'm really good at this stuff. And I would share these videos and I was like, guys, I just had this light bulb moment. I forgot about this. This is going to change your life forever. And I get like super vulnerable and I'm like trying to fight back the tears and I'm like talking about, and then I look and I'm like, 2 likes? Like what? Like I could have given up so many times those first 6 to 9 months. It like every day, like twice a day. And like you said, dude, just outlast. Like, and I look back, I'm like, dang, dude, what if I would have quit? Like, well, I would have given up on all this awesomeness that I've experienced over the last few years. And what was cool was when I launched my product and I started reaching out to people, I was doing the DMs. You know, I thought no one was watching these videos. And I would get on these calls and they're like, and I'm like, they don't know who I am because I did not have a podcast. I did not have a following. I didn't have anything. And I'm like, hey, yeah, my name's Ryan, and I used to own like this lighting business and stuff. And they're like, oh, dude, yeah, man, I saw that video of you and your family, man. Like you guys, oh, you go camping and you got 4 kids, and they tell me everything about my life, and I'm like,
yeah,
this is a little creepy. And they like know me so well that whatever I ask them to do, there's already instant trust, instant authority. It's crazy. It blew my mind. And so I just want people to know that, like, you put your, recommendations to action, you take action on this stuff, you can build authority. You will build authority. You build trust, and it's not overnight. It might take you a year. It might take you 2 years. Who knows? It doesn't really matter how long. You just get into that motion of like, hey, I'm just going to do this one thing every day. And how hard is it to like really think about a client experience and share a story once a day? It's like, it's actually not that hard if you're intentional about it.
Yeah. I think the intention behind it is everything. And what you had mentioned earlier about something being like so second nature to you, most people don't know that. And so like, even if it is second nature to you, what second nature to you is usually a golden nugget of information or a burning question that other people might have. And if you can answer that question, then you automatically become that authority. And what you said about it not being, an overnight thing, like I end every single podcast that I do on my podcast, and a lot of the posts and the tagline is authority isn't built overnight, it's built over time. And the whole aspect behind that is like, if it were so easy, regardless if it was SOPs in your business or hiring or anything, marketing and advertising related, like if it were so easy, then everyone else would be doing it and having the success that you think you're going to have by seeing this through. The fact that it's not easy, the fact that it's not overnight actually gives you the upward advantage as long as you're willing to, put your time in, do the work, and figure out how to get to that next level.
So good. That's so good. You look at and like evaluate different industries. For some reason, the landscape lighting industry has this barrier to entry, and it's kind of a perceived barrier to entry because they're like, oh, well, yeah, anyone can do holiday lighting, but landscape lighting, you got to be an electrician. It's like, wait, did you hear what you just said? Like, landscape lighting is low voltage. It's 12 volts. Like, I've tried to hurt myself and I can't. Holiday lighting, like, all you have to do is go on a steep roof, plug those lights in and cut it in half and see what happens. Like, it's going to hurt.
Yeah.
And so it truly is like this personal branding is a barrier to entry. It's like, this is one of the barriers to success. And I love seeing those barriers to entry because if you figure out a way in, it keeps everybody else out. And you've shared already some amazing stuff. So this is good, man. I could literally, I know we got a hard stop in a few minutes, but I could talk about this stuff for the rest of the day.
Oh yeah, me as well. Well, I think it's, funny that you had mentioned earlier, like, you're like, yeah, I just want to go out and start a lighting business right now, like using all these different strategies and things like that. I give a lot of different types of presentations at contracting and home service types of events, whether it's on digital marketing, personal branding, everything in between. What I oftentimes start with and show different examples is like the best companies, maybe not the past couple of years, but like moving forward in this new environment with AI and technology and the competition in the economy, is like the best companies, the ones that we're going to probably grow the biggest, probably be the most profitable, exit, stay in business, are marketing and sales companies that just so happen to do landscape lighting. Not the best landscape lighting technician, not the company that's been around the longest, because eyeballs and attention are literally everything. And a great example is like, we had a landscape design business here in St. Louis for like a year and a half, buddy of mine and I. Those first 200 websites that I built in 2018, 2019, we turned those into companies once they started getting enough volume of phone calls where we couldn't sell the leads anymore. We became the competitors of the people that we were selling the leads to. I own an auto glass repair company here in St. Louis that we started in January of 2021. We'll do over $1 million this year. We have 5 vans, 9 employees. And that was a stupid Weebly website that I built back in 2019 that looks ridiculous, but there's the marketing and advertising behind it. And I don't know the first thing still to this day, which is embarrassing to a certain degree, how to even repair a windshield, much less replace one. But we get over 1,000 leads a month. Like, it's a well-oiled freaking machine. But I say all of that to being like, when I was having conversations with competitors back in 2018, 2019, 2020, I was trying to sell them the leads. Like, hey, you're paying a bunch of money on Google, whatever. Like, just take these phone calls. We'll pay a flat rate. They were like, no. And then they basically told me to kick rock. Like, I was trying to sell just the URL and the phone number and all the data with it. I was like, guys, I want to walk away from this because those calls are all coming to my phone every single day, 50 plus calls a day. They were like, no. So I became their competitor. And now we have almost 400 5-star review, 4.9 star reviews.
Awesome.
And they all follow me on social media. And they're like, Adam, like, I should have just taken you up on that. Like 3 or 4 of them consistently, like every couple of months when they see it, because they see more trucks, they see our employees, we're getting people coming over from Safe Light. And so I share that story because that's only going to happen more and more with things like private equity, with this new wave of entrepreneurship where people are like, I'm not obsessed with the thing. Like, I'm obsessed with digital marketing and personal branding now, as you can tell. But like, when I first got started, it was a vehicle for me to leave corporate America. I would have pretty much taken anything, right? And so you're starting to see more and more people look for industries, look for that low-hanging fruit, look for some things that maybe have a little bit barrier of entry, but like landscape lighting being one of those things that if somebody can throw up a website and do really, really good SEO with personal branding, like they may become one of your biggest competitors over the next couple of years and take a bunch of business away from you.
The thing that I love about personal branding is right now, specifically in time where we're at today, whatever it is, July 2024, a lot of people are struggling. They're like, oh man, Google ads aren't what they used to be. Or man, every time I do this direct mail, like my competitor copies me. Or, I say that my sales presentation, like they're always concerned about their competitor copying them. You cannot copy a personal brand. Even my wife is like, are you worried that people are going to rip off your stuff? I'm like, they already do. I don't care. Like, you can't rip me off. How are you gonna copy and paste me? You can't. Like, I am me. You will love me, you will hate me, doesn't really matter. Like, I am me and you are you. Like, you just can't rip off a personal brand. So people, this is why I'm so passionate about it too, is because over the next 5-10 years, at least the next 10 years, this is where it's going to be at. Like, I'm always talking about differentiate yourself, charge a premium price. You can charge whatever you want when you have a high developed personal brand. If you have a weak brand, a weak personal brand, then they're going to group you in with everyone else, say, oh, those guys were, half your price. If they like you, they will find a way to work with you. They will overcome their own objections. They will say, man, Adam, we really want to go with you, but literally you're twice as high. Like, that's where we're at. I mean, how cool is that? Like, I would love it if everyone always just said that, then you know what you're working with and you'll find a way to work with them. So gosh, it fires me up too, because this is the way. I mean, you got to do traditional stuff, but this is going to be the differentiator. This is going to be the thing that helps you secure more clients than anything else.
Yeah. Well, it's also the thing that, not to say like, oh my gosh, always think about the exit, or people say, get the business and think about the exit plan, right? But let's just say you do decide to exit one day, or something does happen to your industry, or something happens, right, where you just decide you don't want to do it anymore. If you don't have that personal brand, it's really tough to go do that next thing. But like I always tell people, like if I needed to go sell homes and be a realtor, I wouldn't have anything listed probably by Friday. But I guarantee if you give me a month or two, I'll do it more effectively than anybody else that's out there, because I've already built the personal brand. It's why we were able to scale Builders of Authority to a 6-figure company in less than I was like 4 or 5 months. It wasn't because Builders of Authority was that so much greater than anything I was doing in the digital marketing agency per se. It was that I had 4 years worth of people following me that saw me build a multi-million-dollar digital marketing agency through now what I was teaching and consulting on. But I've obviously gotten so many opportunities from speaking, podcasting opportunities. I have affiliate like plays where people are literally paying me to just promote their stuff, and paying me once I send an affiliate their way. And I've gotten equity in other companies too, from a consulting standpoint, just because people are like, Adam, you've built the personal brand here in St. Louis, and you also know marketing and advertising. That's valuable. And if people don't know who you are, you could be the greatest X, Y, and Z, have all the funds, have all the money, all the stuff, all the expertise and years of experience. But if people don't know who you are, you're kind of hidden. And if you want to be hidden, that's a completely different story. But most people, I would venture to say, wish more people knew who they were, but more importantly, knew who their company was, right? And so by doing the personal brand, by building the authority, it opens up more doors than just your, what am I focused on right now? It opens up a whole other set of doors that if you would have told me this stuff 2 years ago, I would have told you you're crazy.
Very cool. I know one of the concerns people have is like, and they had concerns for me, like when they saw what I was launching, they're like, you're doing a podcast on landscape lighting? What are you going to talk about? And I'm like, well, we're going to talk about this and this and this. And like, yeah, but then what? And I'm like, dude, you can't shut me up. Like, I can sell for days. But a lot of people do struggle. Like, how does someone come up with content for their business and for their brand?
So when you're talking about just like the easy, simple stuff, like I always tell people to like start out with like themes or ideas, right? So like from the business side of things, you're frequently asked questions from prospects. Perfect. So easy stuff that you can write down. I have a freaking slew of notes in my phone of questions I get asked on a daily basis. I'd also have your team. So if you have team members, ask them what questions they get asked or what questions they have. That's an easy place to. Chat GPT is absolutely phenomenal. Like an easy place to be able to go in and, hey, give me 50 ideas about X, Y, and Z, about landscape lighting, installation, sales, all the different stuff. But even from there is going and seeing what is working in other industries and then taking that to your industry is probably one of the best things I've ever done.
Nice.
So I've been in marketing agency masterminds and they have been super helpful. Like I always tell people, go to an industry specific group, right? But also make sure you're not just so tunnel visioned on what is everybody else doing in my industry. Take what's working from other industries too, whether it's listening to a general business or marketing podcast or anything else, because usually you're able to innovate and scale quicker than your competition because everybody's looking at what's going on in the industry, taking other things and ideas and figuring out how to make it unique to your industry that nobody else is doing so far. And that's what I did in the marketing agency space as well, with launching my own companies and things like that. And the way in which I was telling the story and branding and personal branding behind it was pretty different and unique.
Very cool. Last question, and then I want you to tell us a little bit about Builders of Authority. Video, pictures, how long the videos, like, kind of leave us with that.
Yeah, so pictures are always going to get, like, if you're going to make a Facebook post, pictures are always going to get more attention. Pictures are always going to get more attention, one, because someone literally sees it, right? So versus just a long post, right? Pictures are going to grab attention. Algorithms also love pictures too. When it comes to videos, you can obviously do those way less often. Now there's different types of videos. So there's the short form reel type stuff that kind of TikTok made famous. There's a live video. Live videos are great because everyone gets notified that you're doing them and the algorithms love them because they see that you're actually spending time on the platform. So I wouldn't necessarily recommend, especially getting started, doing them like every single day. But if you did them once a week as you were finishing a project, could be very, very effective. Long form content is really only good anymore when you're uploading it to a platform on like a YouTube, to be completely honest. So short form is literally the way to go, in my opinion, on social media, but really keeping them anywhere from 30 to 90 seconds. One, you can't go any longer than 90 seconds on a lot of the social media platforms, but like 30 to 60 seconds is kind of the sweet spot on a lot of that stuff.
Very cool. Great advice. I guess, yeah, as we wrap up, tell us a little bit about Builders of Authority. You've got some coaching, you got some online stuff, you got some in-person events. Tell us about that.
Yeah, absolutely. So with Builders of Authority, our main thing right now is we have a group mastermind. So we do 2 weekly calls, Monday and Wednesday. It's a group of about 55 entrepreneurs from all different industries, all over the country. A lot of people obviously here in St. Louis as well, which is where I'm from. You get access to our personal branding course. There's 2 accountability calls that you get with my executive assistant every single month as well. Private Facebook group, and then recordings of all the calls. I just tell people, if you are anywhere in your personal branding journey, but you actually want to commit to doing better, there's likely something that we can do to help or give you some free information, access, etc. If anybody's watching this video and is interested in that personal branding course, I'm more than happy. Just shoot me a message, leave a comment, whatever. I can give you that course for free to at least get you started. We call it our 7 steps to $1 million business with personal branding. It was a PDF that we turned into a course, and more than happy to give that to your audience completely free.
That's awesome, man. Thank you for doing that. I guess if they are interested in that, reaching out, what's the best way to get in touch with you?
Yeah, so Facebook is going to be the easiest platform. Adam McChesney. You'll see my red logo, AM logo. You can also connect with me on Instagram. That's Adam L. McChesney. And then you can also just go to buildauthority.co and head over there and see everything we have from our mastermind and all the other options that we have available.
Man, this was cool. I can't tell you how much I appreciate you coming on here. Selfishly, okay, so some of this stuff I've already like implemented, right? I've learned, but then I'm like, oh, I gotta ask him this. I gotta ask him this. I'm like, I love having guests like you on because I'm like taking notes, learning, like writing all this stuff down. So I really appreciate you, man. It's so cool. I admire what you're doing. You're gonna help thousands of people build their businesses, live a better life, do all the stuff that we're trying to accomplish here on our podcast. So you added a ton of value. I just thank you, man. I appreciate it.
Man, I appreciate the opportunity. Always great chatting with you.
Okay, sounds good. All right, guys. Now the hard part. Now you just got to implement. So get out there, take action. Don't get overwhelmed. Don't go to try to post 16 times on all the different platforms. Just do one thing different today that you didn't yesterday, and you'll be on the right track. So that was awesome, Adam. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
All right, guys. Have an awesome week. Go work on your personal brand. It's scary. It is scary because we're not used to getting out in front of people, but this will be the thing that differentiates you guys. Have an awesome week. Keep moving forward.